I'm back to share my final experiences with getting a personal trainer. I was a little surprised on the second to last session that there was a sales pitch. And in hindsight, of course, right? Any business has to have a model to get repeat clients. And of course, their intention is going to be to sign me up as an ongoing client. I guess when I purchased the package, I wasn't really thinking about that. I just thought I'm getting 6 sessions because I want to learn how to actually have proper form and learn how to use the weights properly and learn how to work out effectively. I wasn't actually thinking I want to hire a personal trainer because I want that person to get me all the way to my goals. I was invited into a little office where the trainer went through this plan that he had for me, which is basically not going through a plan of oh, here's what you should do next in terms of this is what we'll do, an exercise plan. It was more like a coaching plan, right? So it was basically repeating back to me the goals that I had stated that I wanted, and basically just laying it out in a time frame. So there was the 6-month plan, I think the 1-year plan, and the 2-year plan or something. It was way far out. So yeah, I was just kind of oh dear, it's not what I wanted ever. I didn't want a 3-year plan. And I also was just oh, this trainer's really sweet. He's really young. This internal mother side of me was I actually want to say yes to this. So yeah, that was a hard one for me. There was that side of me that was oh yeah, I would love to be able to continue to do this. But when I thought about it later, I was actually if I sat with this, I wouldn't want to do it. And I'll tell you why. One of the reasons why is because it's 3 sessions a week. And if you were following my other videos, I was burning out from basically having to go to the sessions. They were late at night, and just because of my schedule, and just having another appointment to have to get to, right? Just too much on my plate. That was having negative effects on my body. I was actually getting more cortisol, and that was showing up on the scale. I bought the Hume Body Pod, and it basically showed that I was retaining water. So I had more water, which corresponded with the stress. Not a good sign, right? Anytime you're retaining water, that's a sign of inflammation. So the cortisol of just having to be there so much was productive in terms of my goal to get healthier, to build more muscle, and to lose some extra body fat. So for that reason, I wouldn't want to do it 3 times a week anyways. I know that's too much for me, but I also think it's just having to be there at a certain time, that deadline and that pressure and somebody's expecting you and all that kind of stuff was not working for me. I wouldn't want to do it 3 times a week. Now that I'm going to be doing it myself, I'll just go back to 2 sessions a week, which it's just one less, but it's again, it wasn't the workout that is too stressful. The workouts were great. The trainer was great. He really got me to really feel into my body, to know what my limits were and what was enough to stretch me and not hurt my body and all that kind of stuff. If you like that idea, you want to be trained, you want to have to show up somewhere, you want that accountability, you want somebody who knows what they're doing, they're doing it with you, then training is absolutely, I think, amazing. But just for me and where I'm at, and my goal is not this end result that I need to get to in this very specific time. So I don't have that internal drive to work out that many times a week, ongoing for that many months and months and years to get to this ideal whatever. So that's partly also why it's not something that I would consider doing ongoing. But the final reason why is, let's say I had the money, I had the time, and it didn't stress me out to get there. It's really boring. Working out for me is really boring. There's a part of me that it feels uninspiring to me to go to do that and have all those other reasons on top of it that makes it not exciting. So for me, I would rather go, now that I know what I need to do it properly, I will go and use what I learned to do a better job of training myself, but actually have my brain free so that I can listen to an audio or something that can stimulate me intellectually. It's like the idea of just focusing on exercises for an hour, that's not interesting to me. And I find that part of it boring. To me, the most interesting part of working with the trainer was, well, talking to the trainer, honestly. That is the relationship conversation, that's interesting. But the actual just like doing exercises, not so much. So for me, it works better that I go 2 times a week and by myself so that I can do what I need to do for my body, but also like engage my mind so I'm not bored. That's what's going to get me there. In a perfect world, I don't know how other personal trainers work, so I'm sure that there's someone out there who can provide this service, but it's just that I saw a trainer in a gym, right? Where the gym has its own agenda for how things are going to work out. I have no idea if I had met this trainer in another context, if he would be willing to train me the way I want to be trained, which is, I could imagine having like 1 training session a month where I learn some new things so that I can add that to my own regime rather than having to meet a certain amount of times every single week. Because really, I feel like I learned so much from it, and that somebody else's like brain looking in on what I'm doing and giving me new ideas would be really helpful, because it's, we just get into like a rut with what we want to do, or, if someone's not there, we might always choose the easy thing. So I do see the value of hiring a personal trainer again, but just not on their terms and the way they have set it out, how they want it to be. So I thought I should mention that for people that are watching this and have never done it before, that if you really don't want to go beyond the initial package just to learn some skills, that you might want to know that that's how it works. You might want to state from the beginning that what you actually want and what you're not planning to do. Like, you're not planning to sign up for another package or whatever. That might save some of that uncomfortableness that goes on when you have to say no to a sales pitch. And also to save that person the time, right? Like, I hate that feeling when somebody's about to sell you something, you don't want it. And you feel it coming. I don't want to be rude, but at the same time, I don't want to waste this person's time and their breath and their energy and stuff like that. But, it was all laid out, 3 pages of stuff. But again, it was more geared towards not me as an individual and what the plan was for me as an individual. It was more just like a repeat of the things I had already said, right? But just organized on a piece of paper, reiterating my goals for me as a motivational strategy, I guess, to get me to sign up. But yeah, there was a funny part where he said something about after, I don't know, it was the 1 or 2 year mark, where it's like the gym is like a second home. And I kind of laughed internally and was like, okay, absolutely, like, not gonna ever be a thing unless, there's a coffee shop there and a couch and a fireplace and I don't know, like an elixir bar of like really healthy foods or something like that. If those things were at a gym, I might be able to make the gym my second home. And there would need to be a really big window for sunlight to sit in the cafe. Then it would definitely be my home, because then I would go to the coffee shop, work, and then I would work out while I was there. So I thought that was funny, because as it is right now, that was absolutely not motivating. It was completely the opposite. I was like, oh my God, that is exactly not how I want my life. I do not want to live at the gym. I do not want it to be my second home. So I thought that was quite funny. After that session, I went for my final session, and it was a good session. We just did some of the same things that I had done in previous sessions with him, just working again on form. And I feel like now I have some more knowledge of things that I can do at the gym by myself that isn't just using the machines that tell you exactly what to do by the way they're made and what the instructions on the machine. Like I actually do know some things I can do in the free area where the people who seem to know what they're doing are. So I know a few things. I could go over there. So I'll probably do that. And I also have like some clarity about what I need to do for my knee to make it stronger, which is really great. I learned how to roll out some of my muscles. So one of the things that happened on the 5th session, I couldn't actually do squats, which was weird because I had way more rest day and than previous. I had more space to rest, but actually my muscles were a lot sore, so I had to do other things. I don't know what that was. Maybe just maybe again a cortisol thing. I don't know. They just didn't like recover that well that time, even though they felt better. It was weird. I thought that I would be able to do squats again, but like I really became super aware of the tension in the side of my thighs and into my knee. And that's the thing that I found super valuable about this experience as well, was that because I'm more of a heady person, I like to read, I like to write, I like to have deep conversations. I'm like always up here and not really in my body. I got asked a lot of questions about how I was feeling in my body, and I really had to stop and think, right? So I think there's that value of it as well, is to have somebody else there to make you think in a different way, because he asked a lot of questions about that. But anyways, he just taught me how to do like rolling to work the tension out of those muscles, which is really valuable. And at this particular gym, there's also some really good recovery equipment that I could use to do that I wouldn't have really known how to use, because I'm just such a beginner at all this, like never having been someone into fitness. What's probably obvious to a lot of people is not obvious to me. So I got to learn how to do that as well. I felt when I was doing it, I could feel like the tension in the side of my thighs, where that hurt, when I would roll on it, it would actually be pulling on the part of my knee that would normally be sore. So that was pretty cool, just to see that connection and to see that the fact that we tend to want to avoid things when they hurt is like, obviously sometimes you can hurt yourself by overdoing something, right? When you're like trying to force your body to be like a certain way and you over exercise and you can hurt yourself. But in this case, it was like from under exercising, because I sit at a desk for a lot of hours and at a day. So my knees are bent all the time and I'm not walking and things like that. So if it was the opposite, of they were underused, and which was causing pain, which was making me afraid to exercise in certain ways, right? So it becomes this bad cycle. The less you do for your body and the more pain that causes from underuse and then weakening, you're more afraid to work out. So it's a great idea to work with a trainer to help you see, where you can actually go more, so you can actually like get the strength back in that part of your body, so that it's not weakness that's causing the pain. So that was really, really helpful for me as well. Let's see, I think that is all that I wanted to share, just kind of closing out that experience.